In 1978, four seasoned explorers set up their final base camp on the frozen ridge of the Annapurna Range, and then, without a single distress signal, they simply ceased to exist. Think about that for a second. Four men, experts in survival, left behind their oxygen, their food, and their boots, walking out into a sub-zero blizzard with absolutely nothing to protect them. The rescuers arrived 3 weeks later, expecting a tragedy, but they found a scene that defies every law of logic. The tents were zipped shut from the inside, pinned down by heavy rocks, as if the men were waiting for something to pass. But inside, there was no sign of a struggle, no blood, and no bodies, just a singular, haunting trail of footprints that led directly to the edge of a 3,000-foot drop. And here is where it gets truly disturbing, because those footprints didn't stop at the ledge, they simply vanished, as if the men had taken flight. What could possibly possess a man to step out into a blinding storm in his socks, knowing that death is minutes away? Some locals whispered of the mountain shadow, a legend of an unseen force that mimics the human voice to lure climbers into the darkness. But we have to look at the cold, hard facts uncovered in the abandoned journals found tucked away in a sleeping bag. The final entry wasn't a cry for help, it was a rhythmic sequence of numbers that nobody, not even the world's top cryptographers, has ever been able to decode. Was it a code? A map? Or the desperate ramblings of men losing their minds to the thin, oxygen-deprived air at 20,000 feet? The science says that altitude sickness causes hallucinations, but can a hallucination force four men to march to their own execution in perfect synchronization? Witnesses from a lower base camp claimed they saw flashes of light that night, not lightning, but a steady, pulsating blue glow descending from the peak. By dawn, the sky was clear, the wind had died down, and the mountain was silent, hiding its gruesome prize. When the search party finally reached the peak 3 weeks later, they expected to find the remnants of the climbers. Instead, they found a circle of items, their climbing harnesses, their watches, and their wedding rings, all meticulously arranged in the center of the camp. This wasn't a panic-induced flight, this was a ritual, or perhaps, a final offering to something that lived where no human was meant to tread. You have to wonder, did they know they weren't coming back? Or were they convinced they were about to meet someone, or something, that required them to leave their humanity behind? Investigators pored over the site for months, but they never found a single bone, not a shred of clothing, nothing that would explain the departure of four grown men from a locked, impenetrable camp. It's as if the mountain itself swallowed them, digesting them into the history of its jagged, unforgiving slopes. The tragedy of the 1978 expedition remains one of the most suppressed stories in mountaineering history, buried under decades of official silence. They say the mountain still hums with an unnatural frequency whenever a storm rolls in, as if it's still holding on to the secrets of that night. Think about the sheer terror of standing on that ridge, realizing that whatever you are looking at is not of this world, and that your only way out is a fall into nothingness. Could there be pockets of reality on this earth that we simply aren't meant to disturb? The journals, the gear, the inexplicable arrangement of items, it all points to a conclusion that history books are too afraid to print. Perhaps some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, but rather, they serve as a warning to those who dare to go too high. The next time you look at a photograph of a mountain peak, remember the four men who left their world behind for a destination that remains unknown to this day. Because sometimes, the most terrifying stories aren't the ones we tell, but the ones the mountains refuse to give back. Until we return to those heights, the truth will remain frozen, trapped in the ice, waiting for the wind to finally tell its tale.